Hey everyone, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here today. You are going to be getting some great information. I just want to arrive here and make sure that all of our technology is working, that you can hear me and see me. So if somebody would be willing to go into the chat box, not question, the chat box, and let me know, can you hear me? And can you see me? Great, thank you, Catherine. I appreciate that. All right, well, here's another question for you. You are going to be learning some really, really great information. I am just wondering, are there any specific questions that you would like answered during this presentation? If you could just write that into the question or chat box, that would be great. We want to make sure that you're getting the full value from your time here. All righty. All righty. And, oh, Mike Breedlove. Hey, Mike. So nice to see you. I hope that everything is going well for you and your family. And welcome, David. Welcome, Douglas. Welcome, Catherine. Welcome, Arlie. So nice to see you all here. I hope that things are going well for all of you. All righty. I'm just going to go grab something. I'll be right back. All righty. I'm making sure that everything is all turned off and we're set to go. I hope all of you are healthy. Boy, hasn't this been an interesting time here. Dharmesh, hello, hello, David. Great to see you. Okay, again, if you've just arrived, I want to invite you to either go into the question box or the chat box and let me know if there's anything that you definitely want to get out of this presentation. We want to make sure that you make the have the full value of this time. Yes, it's working, Douglas. It worked. All righty. Well, it is almost the top of the hour. So I want to welcome you to this tutorial about how you can grow your practice with texting as a marketing tool. And let me tell you how and why I came to offer this webinar. So I'm a member of a mastermind group, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you're talking with other people and sort of sharing resources and getting best practices. Well, anyway, in my mastermind, the organizer had invited people who were making at least 7 figures to come and give some of their best practices. So one woman stepped up and she said, I'll tell you what's really made a difference for me. Every time I go and speak, I give people the opportunity to get on my list where they get a daily text in which they get just one little tip, one thing to focus on today. And she said, that transformed things. Now, I don't know about you, but I had not thought of using texts in my marketing toolbox. So everyone was really excited. They said, okay, like what vendor are you using? And she said, I'm using community.com. And as soon as the mastermind was over, I hopped on her vendor, community.com, and immediately signed up. It's kind of like, you know, the first time I saw faxing or emails, it was like, okay, I can see how this would work. So I am using it for my own practice building. And I just wanted to bring on an expert to share with you what this is all about and what this could look like for you as you built your practice. So I am delighted to introduce our guest, Ethan Shepert. Ethan, are you there?
Hi, Vicki. Hi, everyone.
There. So anyway, Ethan understands your world. He understands the world of financial services because he has worked in it. But here's what I love about Ethan. He engages in evidence-based marketing. Like in medicine, we engage in evidence-based medicine. We want to actually know what's working and what's not working. And the thing I so admire about you, Ethan, is you dig in and do your work. So please educate us about how people are using text to grow their business.
Thank you for that toss-off. I really appreciate it. I never do well when people talk well about me, like in front of other people. So if I get red, that's why. But very nice to meet everybody. Today, what we're going to be going over is a very quick agenda. We're going to go over the texting landscape, how text marketing came to be, why it exists, who exists on it, and the way to utilize it. And then we're going to go through the community value add, why community exists as a leader in the text marketing space, how we were able to formulate that perfect platform to be able to text all of the members that are on there. And then we'll do a quick product demonstration. So I'll walk you through the product itself. We'll go over the tool. We'll go over examples of how you could use the tool from a high level. And then if anybody has any questions afterwards, happy to answer those. Please utilize the chat feature during. I can't see it, so Vicki, if you could just tap on the screen real quick and let me know, that would be great. And then as we're going specifically through the product demonstration, please utilize questions, because what I find during all of these is direct feedback is always the most useful, because I'm able to answer questions that you might just have tossed off and then be really important later. So please ask all the questions you have. I want this to be as interactive as possible. And we're just going to hop right into it. So going right into the texting landscape. So this year, Americans have been checking their phones more than ever, which is no surprise considering the number of messages from 2019 to 2020 have grown by 300 billion. So if you think about that number at scale, that is 9.4% year-over-year growth from 2019 to 2020, because in that time frame, it was 3.2 trillion, now it's 3.5 trillion. So currently 66% of Americans check their phones over 160 times a day, and that's on average. We've seen numbers all the way up to 500, and if you want to do this little test case for yourself, if you have an iPhone, please utilize the Screen Time app. You can see how many times you looked at your phone, how often you looked at your phone. But the point I'm getting at here is customers' mobile devices are rarely far away. According to a ZipWhip study in January of 2020, Americans checked their phones, 55% of Americans checked their phones immediately or within 5 minutes of waking up. Now, I'm guilty of this myself. As soon as I wake up, I need to check that notification. I need to see who messaged me. But what's more important is that's the first thing that I check. It's not, did I get a notification on social? It's not, did I get any emails? It's who texted me, because that's probably the most urgent and the people that I want to hear from the most. Now, looking at the landscape from a high level, SMS is the most diverse, ubiquitous platform across all demographics, not just the younger generations, not just certain age groups, not just certain income varieties, not just certain sexes. As you can see here on the right side, there was a time where brand marketers were convinced that they needed an app to compete. And we were guilty of that ourselves here at Community. We originally started out as a platform where people were going to have to download an app and then you would be able to share everything. But we admitted our failures very quickly because nobody wants to interrupt their daily cycle in order to interact with a brand. You don't want to have to download something and then text. If something can be as touchless as possible, and then start receiving messages that you want to, personalized, real messages that you want to receive. So as you can see here, we're topping 95% in almost every category of people that own phones. It's very rare that somebody doesn't own a cell phone that has access to text messaging. So when you're talking about a number that high, it's something that's leading in the space. So we immediately switched over to a text-based platform, and the numbers speak for themselves. So taking a step back and realizing now that, okay, everybody's on these platforms, how do we reach them? So everybody is using text. Now, how am I going to be able to make sure that I'm texting in the right ways, or I'm texting the people that want to receive text messaging? And what that really boils down to is the personalization of content. It's now a consumer expectation and not a desire. Consumers expect brands to leverage SMS technology that they opt into to have more relevant conversations with them. They don't want to be getting 8 different updates about things that are irrelevant, because what they can simply do is just block or opt out. And as soon as they do that, they're gone forever. Now, when businesses are text messaging people, we did a study in we researched a study in 2019 done by Message Media and found that 81% of US consumers had opened up an SMS from a business. Beyond that, ZipWhip did a study where 43% of US consumers already in 2020, and that's January of 2020, had proactively texted a business. We're currently 2 years later than that. So where the numbers have gone is to an extreme where we have over 30 million people on our platform as members. These are just people that have opted into text messaging. And we only operate within the US and Canada. That being said, if we're talking about the US as a sample size, that's over 10% of the country has opted into our specific platform, and it's only growing exponentially from here. So taking a look into what business to consumer text messaging is growing to, brands are using SMS in various customer communication applications. So this includes marketing messages, this includes customer support, this includes transactional messages. This can be anywhere from a daily motivation reminder or a daily recommendation to a text message 5 minutes before your Zoom is about to start if you're hosting a Zoom in a meeting. And it's relevant in both ways because it's how you interact with your audience. So the numbers that are projected by 2023, there's going to be over 23% of marketing budgets devoted to mobile marketing, since it's constantly growing in popularity. This is due to COVID. We have seen that rise, by 300 billion over the COVID years. So we do expect it to stagger a little bit, but not by much, because it's where people are at now. It's similar to as if you were using a QR code. That's just something we're used to as a menu now, and that's where menus exist. So according to Juniper Research, global mobile business messaging hit 2.7 trillion in 2020, up 10% from 2019. And a Commerce Next survey sponsored by Expedia said they planned on increasing investment in messaging or SMS marketing, which grew to 56% in June. So it's working. A study done from January to June, already 5% within the year. So why this is working is because of the changing ecosystem. The ways that used to work, and Vicky, I will shout you out for saying this before when you were first utilizing fax or email, is things change with marketing. Things change with consumer behavior. Email currently, if anybody has an iPhone 15, the new update 15 or up, your phone now has mail privacy protection just by pressing that update, which means blocking IP address and email tracking. So there's no more capture of third party or second party or even first party data. iCloud Plus is an opt-in subscription that makes Safari operate like a mobile VPN. Essentially, you would be operating on a proxy server so that nobody can track any of the data that you have. And then there's a hide my email feature, which even if you send an email to someone, can give a masked email. So nobody could even collect it from you sending them a direct email. When
Ethan,
it comes to,
Ethan,
yes,
excuse me, what's VPN?
VPN, it's a proxy server. So essentially, it's a hidden proxy where instead of your IP address being shown, it bounces off a couple, so it doesn't track you directly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, totally fine. When we look at social media, we've seen the recent unreliability of it, and that's with data breaches, privacy breaches, but what's more important is the advertising segmentation. I don't know if anybody else has been frustrated by it, but if you've ever been talking about a specific product, 3 minutes later, it's on your Instagram or it's on your Facebook. This has caused a lot of mistrust in the consumer space. I mean, it's become commonplace for somebody to just say, oh, that's my phone tracking me again, which causes this lack of reliability from it. Then looking at Google, the demise of third-party cookies in general. Google will ban in the second quarter of this year, as reported by Forbes, there will be no more third-party cookies. So no more of that advertisement that gets to track everything that you've been searching. So this escape of third-party data and second-party data is real, and businesses were seriously struggling. We saw a decline in notifications by 70%. So where do they turn? Text messaging. But how do they turn there is really the question, and the answer is community. Personalized communication tools. We have a personalized communication tool that builds relationships while respecting user privacy. If you see right here, the 95 and the 18, the 95%, that's how many people open up a community message. Every single text message on average is opened up 95% of the time. The message right next to it is how often somebody opens up their email. So from an open rate of 18% to 95%, that's staggering. But the point that I want to get across is there's major gaps between email and using a platform like Community. The major gaps are in environment and utilization. The environment of receiving a text message is being housed in the same place where you're communicating with people you care about. It's my best friend, my mom, and then the brand that just sent me a message. If I'm opening up my email and everybody's done it every single morning, I'm guilty of not doing it because I have like 18,000 unread emails. But as soon as you open up your email, it's this random spam, this random spam, this random spam, and it becomes something you don't want to deal with rather than something you're interested in. Utilization-wise, from an email perspective, how do we utilize emails? How are businesses utilizing emails? Newsletters, sometimes personalized emails, but it's so rare that you'll see anything other than mass communication that it's just become ingrained into us. When it's text message, it's something new. It's something that somebody's receiving that's going to immediately add value. It's personalized, again, that personalized communication, and I'm going to say that quite a few times today, but that personalized communication does every single thing that we need it to. So skipping ahead right here, backtracking on community. We were founded in 2019, launched in July 24th of 2019. Since then, so given a 3-year span, I'll give myself 2.5. We've exchanged over 6 billion text messages with over 30 million members that have joined our platform. So within a short amount of time, we've seen this growth. And it's in part due to the platform itself and in part due to who's on it. In 2 years, we have made a mark as an industry leader in the space, whether it was getting funding from Salesforce, and you could see every single example of this, why music stars are joining community, or Showtime has a community number specific to, I forget the name of the show, but why celebs are leaving Twitter, completely abandoning a social media platform to text with their audience. But these are all examples of ways in which we've shown that we have value and ways in which we've worked. Engagement with our platform is the highest in the industry, with nearly 100% open rates and click-through rates of over 50%. That means over 50% of people, when you send them a message, click on your media that you send out and go to the websites that you want them to go to a product launch page, go to a Calendly that you send out because you want to schedule a meeting with a client. Any of these things can be sent through community. It's an SMS and a rich media sending platform, so you can send all of this through the same space that these people are getting regular text messages from. There's no download needed, there's no app, it's as simple as sending a text message. And this is working again with highly relevant one-to-one conversations with loyal clients. Each different color here in community could be a different group of people, could be a different type of doctor that you're communicating with, could be however you want to segment and filter your audience. But the reason why we highlight this is because it's the end of mass communication. It's the end of having to tailor your messaging to everyone. And it's the beginning of now being able to communicate with the people that you want to communicate with, how you want to communicate with them. And that's reciprocated, the people that want to hear from you in the ways that they want to hear it. So looking at how people are utilizing our platform. These are best practices. These are all ways in which you can use your platform. There's no specific science, because it's going to be your community at the end of the day. It's going to be your group of people that you're having a conversation with. So some of this might be super relevant, some of it might be not, but I'm just going to go over high level, and if anybody has any questions, please ask them. So first, in part, we have people using us as a coaching tool. So providing directed guidance and content to clients as individuals or segmented and filtered communities. This can be, for example, a market feedback, like a market update. If you want to send a daily market update and tell people how they should react or how they should act. Gratitude being one of the most important ways in which people use our platform. Making sure you tell your clients that you're thankful for them and expressing appreciation through the most intimate channel in which they're receiving that communication anyway. Video, in fact, we allow you to send video recordings of yourself or audio recordings of yourself to provide a quick look at an event or a sneak peek. It could be to respond to customers instead of having to send that text message. You could just record yourself, and then they can hear your voice and know that you're actually paying attention. Merch is, I'll say merch on a high level, but it's whatever your merchandise or your content is going to be. Letting people know that an item that they wanted is available or is back, or a specific product is available or now being able to be featured. If you have a podcast, making sure that your audience knows that new episodes are available, or continuing the conversation afterwards to discuss feedback. Just like I'll do after this call. I'll share my community number, and if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to send you a text message and you can see what it's like from a member experience. Updates, these are just major rollouts, life events or happenings. Just let your members know. This is super useful if you're going to be meeting with people or going to be hopping onto a Zoom with somebody. Shooting them a text message 5 minutes before, or if you're going to be hosting an event, shooting a message out to your audience 5 minutes before with the Zoom link in that actual slug so that people can just click on it directly from their phone. It's just a very frictionless experience. Businesses, what critical information that your customers want to discuss. Training, if you want to provide information, to-do lists, motivational messages to those who need it, or advice. It's super relevant nowadays to be afraid to talk things out or give opinions, but here they don't have to be. Here they're messaging with a person that they've opted in to message with, that they've chosen to message with and selected to, and they're having that real conversation because that's you. So ways in which we make it a very frictionless or seamless process is, again, no one trick science, but these are recommended ways. So first and foremost, sharing your number everywhere. On all your marketing material that you currently have, on all your social media that you have, it's huge putting it on LinkedIn, but sharing your number and making sure people know that you're available via text message. We have embeds in case you want to put an embed into your site where people can opt in directly from your website, and then one-click signups, where if they click on a URL code or they text your number, they're able to opt in directly from that flow. Segmentation. So how you're going to be messaging your audience after that flow happens is going to be a myriad of ways that we'll get into. Here's a high level though. Communities is what we were founded upon, but it's also super relevant to what you're going to be doing rather than what everybody does on community, because this is how you hyper filter your targeted audience. This is how you segment your audience and who you want to speak to. And you can segment it using keywords or just adding individuals into these groups. And I'll get into how we do that when we're doing the demonstration itself. How to compose. So now that your segments in the audience, what do you send to them? Because that is the most relevant thing here. That's failure versus success on a platform which is so intimate and personal. So we allow you to target your perfect audience, say the things that you need to say how you want them to, and we also give you recommended messages based on the things that you've sent out before and the things that you've been receiving. So we'll have an updated feature where if you're on the home dashboard and there's a thing that's happening on your platform, our integrations will realize or learn that, okay, this is going to be something that you should attack right away. So you'll have like 128 notifications about this. And then you could text, literally by clicking a button, text those 128 people that are texting you a similar thing. So it makes it very easy for you as well. It's not just a messaging platform, it's how to communicate with a massive audience at scale, making it feel like it's one-on-one. Now, engaging. We make it possible to, again, respond to that audience that are saying similar or like things, and then text many people just like it's coming in as once. Link clicks, so we're able to show you exactly what the engagement is like, so you can see what's working and what's not working for your platform. If you typically have an engagement rate or a link click through of 80%, and you send out a message of 40%, something to go back on. Maybe I should change out my messaging. Maybe I should offer something or what have you. And then demographics and behavior. We track behavior well for you, but as a platform, and this is something I want to get into high level before we go into it, we are the most secure platform out there. We do not share, sell, any way that I could say it. We don't communicate your data with anybody or even have access to the data that you have. So your messaging is your messaging. And because of that, everybody's platform is built how it works for them. So the behavior on your platform is going to be based on your actual community's behavior, not based on the behavior of community as a whole. Now, this is my thank you slide, but it's also my opportunity for questions because I'm going to hop right into the demonstration after this. So I can't see the chat feature. Vicky, are there any questions for me so far?
We do have questions. One is about compliance. Like,
got it.
What would your compliance department say about this?
So when it comes to compliance, we are the leader of TCPA and COPA, and those are the messages that govern. Those are the two laws that govern the text messaging space. So at TCPA, just a high-level overview of TCPA is it's a specific law targeted towards text messaging. It says that not only do people have to opt in to messaging, they have to opt into your specific number in the way that they want to. And that's why we have our opt-in process, how it's built, and why we win awards every single year since our inception for following compliance. We have never had a shutoff from any of the 4 major carriers, and we work with all 4 of them very closely. So in terms of compliance from our end, we follow it.
Oops, we just lost you. We just lost your.
The question is strictest out there. In terms of compliance from your end, I'm sure this is about specific financial because that's who I'm speaking with. That's something where I can't offer legal advice to it because I don't have the expertise in order to be able to. However, if you're communicating in a way that is compliant on your end, we're following compliance on our end. So there should be no issue. Any other questions?
Let's see here. About content. How do you figure out the content? And I just want to let you know that Ethan will probably have some ideas, like the idea of gratitude, just expressing gratitude. I think that's a great thing, but I'm the content queen. I've got lots of content that you guys can license that, you know, doctors are proven to want. So not to worry about that part. The way I see it, you know, I think of marketing as engaging somebody in a conversation, right? And then selling is inspiring somebody to take that next step. So, you know, I think marketing is kind of like giving a birthday present. You know, you got to start with something that people really want. And then once you buy the present, there are a whole bunch of ways of getting the present to the other person. You know, you could take it to the party, you could send it out FedEx or UPS. And I sort of think about text as one way of getting the birthday present to the recipient. But your success, of course, is always going to be based on, like, do they want it? Is this something that they truly want?
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. That's where we see the biggest, I'd say, gap between who's highly successful versus who's exponentially successful is the type of messaging, like being at pulse with your community, knowing exactly what they want to hear when they want to hear it, and segmenting your audience the way that it should be segmented. And don't fret, like we do offer a ton of tools and one-to-one product launches so that you will be successful because you'll talk to a specialist like myself, you'll talk to a customer success person, you'll talk to someone from community that knows our platform in and out, but also knows who's using our platform. We don't share this in typical demonstrations or presentations as far as customer content, but we do share best practices and use cases. So that'll be something that all of us can speak to as you're joining the platform.
Okay, and Tim, you say daily texts seem to be an awful lot of content. Where would they be getting such a volume of content? So for this particular individual who came in and spoke with our group, she was very much about behavioral changes. So for her, daily text made sense. It was sort of the daily inspiration. And so your big challenge is sort of figuring out what kind of content do you want to send to whom, and then what is the right schedule for you. But Ethan, you're going to be showing us some actual examples. So I bet you're going to drive that one home.
Absolutely. What I first want to get into is that opt-in process that I was speaking to before. So it kind of beat me to the punch there. But as far as TCPA compliance, so no matter what somebody texts you, in order to start interacting with that person, they need to follow our sign-up protocol. So they can text you, hey, they can text you anything. They will immediately get a sign-up notice and then a customizable text message from you. So you can say, this is your name or this is your brand, and then just instruct them to sign up or opt in order to be receiving that. The opt-in screen itself, if they're not already a community member, is going to look like this. Again, that 30 million people is growing very quickly. If they're already a community member, because the data is housed with us, we make it a single tap sign on. So instead of having to sign up with a screen, they just click accept. But here you'll see we have birthday, gender identity, city, and email. These are all captured for a higher purpose, and I'll get into that in the demonstration. Once they do sign up, they will receive a second automated text that confirms that they're now a part of your community, and then a contact card. So when you get a community number, you get a 10-digit number. You don't get a 5-digit short code like I'm sure we're used to receiving spam from. It's a real number with a real contact card with your picture or your brand's picture or whatever you want to put on there, your website, your email address, a full contact. And then they can save you directly in their phone just by clicking on that, and then you're there. Now, what that looks like on the community platform. So what it's going to look like for you. Logging into the community app or web-based application is as simple as going to community.com and instead of clicking get started, going to log in. This is once you're a community member, of course. And this is how the platform is housed. This is what it looks like. This is what it will look like all the time. It's not going to change, don't worry. I know we're new, but we've set our roots pretty deep. So as a platform, the dashboard is very simple. You can send a new message simply by clicking on this box and then start your segmentation. So if I want to segment, and this is touching on what I was just going on before with the sign up form, if I want to segment based on people who have birthdays today, they had to put in their age because we're COPA compliant, but you can utilize that to an advantage. You can text people whose birthday it is that day. Something that we find huge success with because, I mean, we get texts on our birthday from people that care about us. And if you're able to bring that value add, that is huge. Activity filters, which are based on predictions by our machine learning, which members are most likely to engage with your links and media. And this calculation is based on how recently a member joined your community, link clicks, media viewing, all of those added up into an equation. So you're able to text those people. You can text everyone on your platform. We highly recommend segmenting, but you can definitely utilize that feature if something's going to be relevant for everyone. You can text based on age, but not just 18 or 21 and up. If I go into age here, I can do custom age filtering. So if there's a specific demographic that I want to reach, I can do between the ages of, over the age of, exactly a certain age. I can text based on location if I wanted to. This is a demo platform for our company. So we have New York and LA, but if I wanted to type any city on the map, let's go to somewhere where it's more warmer than New York. Miami, Florida, I can just select that area and then do a targeted high-level view of that specific area and then just text based on that location. So for anybody that has licenses in different states, very relevant. For gender identity, that's self-explanatory, male, female, non-binary. You can text based on join date to have more of an evergreen approach. So what I mean by evergreen is like if a customer joined on Wednesday, I want them to receive a text message or the same text message on next Wednesday as if a customer joined today, I would want them to receive next Thursday. If you follow, it's just on different segments of messaging. And then our most important feature, communities. This is where you build your flows or your specific groups of people. So talking from a high level here, if I wanted to create, let's say group one was a specific audience segment. And Vicky, can you help me out here and give me a specific group that might be relevant?
Sure. Well, let me talk about just myself. So I help financial advisors acquire doctor clients through my brand, Engaging Doctors, but I also help doctors achieve higher levels of business success through my Thriving Doctors brand. So two totally different brands.
Got it. Yeah. So you can segment based on brand. You can segment based on income might be relevant. If you wanted to do it based on income or practice size or type of doctors, if you have, if you're going across multiple verticals of doctors, like you can do based off of that, so that you're sending that targeted messaging. And that's back to, sorry, I can't remember the name of who asked the question of content, but that's where content becomes highly relevant. Is I now know who I'm going to be texting. So I not only have the tool of what I want to get out, the most effective tool of what I want to get out there. Now I know, because of that tool, exactly who to be sending the message to, and then all I have to come up with is what I want to send to them. So it's just a simple backtracking process, but that's how you develop these relationships via text message, is funneling down to the point
Right.
of, okay, I know exactly how I'm going to be sending this because I know my community. It's truly building a community.
And let me just say something else. If you've been through the Cracking the Physician Code course, you know how I talk about 3 buckets of leads. There's family, friends, and fans, people who already know, like, and trust you. There's power partners, you probably call them centers of influence. And then there are doctor information seekers. And the messages that you send to these people is radically different. But now you have a way of essentially segmenting and building different lists. Back to you, Ethan.
Great point. Left me speechless. Yeah, no, that's a perfect point. What we'll typically see as a multi-pronged approach is, if you're going to be targeting different leads or tiering your leads, essentially is what you're saying, Vicky. If you have different tiers, 100% tier those as a community, but you can create multiple layers of how people are tiered. People can be in multiple groups. I'll use Theodore, who is a fake person on our demo platform, as an example. But here's how it works, is really, I can go into any specific message that I have, see full chat history, see what I've sent to them, how they've responded, all the things that they haven't responded to, what they really liked. But not only that, I can see how old they are, what their gender is, where they're located, when they joined, and then all the different tags that they've shown interest in. So as I'm setting keywords or phrases, as I'm putting them into groups, they can be relevant for all different groups. And then you could exclude based on group as well. So you're sending messages that are so relevant to these people that they're probably going to be coming up with some of this content for you. If one thing's working for one person, it's probably going to be relevant for a lot of your additional community. But again, to harp on the insights part, we give you how you've been growing over time. So this will be very relevant to seeing what your approach to getting your number out there is in the first place. I would highly, highly, highly recommend the first thing you do when you get a community number is to be putting that number everywhere, literally everywhere. Business cards, social media, in all your emails, having text me, and that's going to already be something that piques somebody's interest. From there, you can see who is on your platform, so top locations that are on your platforms. You can go based off state as well, the age of people on your platform, what the gender is of people on your platform, and then best hour of the week to text. So this is when your community is engaging with you the most. So you know that you're going to be getting the best, or elicit the best responses from them because of this. So jumping out, unless there's any other questions from here, I'd like to pause myself in between dashboards.
All right, so I think, Ethan, there are some questions about the process. Okay, like, how do you get someone to sign in? I mean, I'd be happy to answer that, or if you'd like to answer that.
I could do a high level. Again, that multifaceted approach is going to be really important. It's realizing where you currently are within marketing and communications, and then utilizing that tool to bring people to this one, as well as active marketing of your current number.
Right, okay, so here's how I have used it. And of course, there's lots of ways of doing it. If I'm giving a webinar, I will say, hey, get out your phone, text this message, and I've got a yummy treat for you. So there's a reason, it's kind of like a landing page, and that will take them into the sign up process. So that's how I not just get them to reach out to me, but get consent. I'm complying with best practices, right, Ethan?
100%. If you're on the platform, you are. Yeah, so that's one really great case. But if any of you are dealing with prospective leads, because we get this a lot, if it's a prospect, why would they want to go through a process where they have to opt in? It's the same reason why they would go through a process of answering a phone, or go through the process of, I don't know, opening up an email. But it's just a way in which they're doing it a lot more. Again, it's about where things are housed, the environment that they're in. If they're sending a text message, receiving a text message, and then saving your number is now saved with the top of importance in people's lives. And when they're getting messages through that environment, it's going to be something that they're more keen to listen to rather than not. And again, this is a tool for marketing and communications. By no means do I say, throw out your sales strategy, just use text messaging. It's a great way to add to the strategies that you currently have by driving people to you. And that's going to be the most important way that you utilize it, is making sure that you realize it's one of the many ways in which you can market to people, communicate with people, but by no means am I saying we're the only option. We're a complement.
Right. I also just wanted to say that I think permission marketing is just more respectful. I always get very upset, when I just get emails, I get put on somebody's email list. It's just not respectful. It's not the right way to build relationships. And the system is set up so that it's required. It's going to keep you out of trouble. And it's also going to set you up for the kind of relationship that will help get somebody from lead to client.
Absolutely. And that's a great segue here into the resources that we provide you. This is just a landing page, of course. You could always either reach out to me. We have a dedicated support line as well that's answered and monitored 24/7. But if you're having issues with social media, how to launch, the community segmentation, the list goes on for like best practices on how to be able to do it. We have case studies on how people that have given us consent to share what they've done and how they've been successful on our platform. Usually it's our partners or people that are investors in the company as well. But you can see examples of how people are utilizing our platform on a daily basis. Gary Vee, I'm sure if anybody is familiar with the influencer space, he's somebody that's very, very relevant currently. He's big in cryptocurrency right now, but he was a serial entrepreneur. He was actually, and this is going to go back to a personal story, he was the second person to join Community, the second number that was ever on Community in 2019. And I remember when I was in 2019, I was not at Community at that time. And I remember, because I followed him pretty closely, he sent out a Twitter, a LinkedIn, and an Instagram message all saying, hey, I got this really cool thing. Want to text me? And I remember the response that was elicited at first. It was, oh my God, did somebody hack Gary Vee's account? Like, oh my God, is this really his number? People were trying to call him, but it drove his platform from when he first started has grown 33 times in 2 years. So starting from around, I'd say 2,000 to 3,000 people within the first month to now over 100 to 200,000. Is probably one of the best use cases, but also one example of somebody that knows how to create this content and knows how to communicate with his audience. You can watch the video on your own if you want to. I can send out a link to it as well. But it's just him speaking to why he's so successful and it's because of community.
All right, so Ethan, Drew has a comment. He says, this is great. How much does it cost? How do we get the system to communicate with our other systems, email, CRM, etc.? Do we use our own number or do you provide a new one?
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to answer top down. So we provide you with a number. We go to the major carriers. Essentially, the process in which to get set up is very simple. You would let me know what area code you wanted, and then a number gets provisioned from the carriers. So a very seamless process. From there, we just send you an activation link, and it's very, very simple. Going back one step further, what was the second question, Vicky? It was integrations, I believe.
Yeah, integrations with other systems, email, CRM.
Got it. So there is no current integration for email. We are one-to-one or end-to-end in terms of how our platform communicates. We do have one-to-many integrations that do exist. One that won't be relevant, I believe, for anyone right now is Shopify. That is a very good integration that we have right now. And the other is Salesforce, because as I mentioned before, we are funded by Salesforce. So we have a seamless integration with them. If you're utilizing other CRMs, we're currently in beta for 2 open API integrations or integration models. 2 of our customers are currently on it, and by the second quarter of this year, we'll have open integrations for specific tiers of what you're joining the platform on. So that leads great into that first question, which is how much does it cost? Our cost model is both member-based and feature-based. So we're going to charge you based on how much you're using our platform. So we have a plan that's called Starter. That starts at $49 a month. And then as you can see here, it goes up based on members on your platform. So max members is 500. Once you get to 1,000, it's 79. And the features that are included on Starter are a 10-digit number, unlimited messaging, community segmentation, advanced filtering, and then 1 account seat. Now, as we get up here into Essentials, this is our most recommended. Our most recommended plan, the plan I'll usually recommend to everyone that's just getting started out. 0 to 1,000 members. What was that?
That's what I signed up for.
Got it. Okay, perfect. It's for 0 to 1,000 members. So right there, you're already almost at that. It's at a $20 difference at that point between Starter and Essentials. But the features that you're unlocking with Essentials are amazing. Cluster responses, member insights, link tracking, and message scheduling. So really unlocking every single type of feature that you could possibly use on the platform. As we get up towards premium, this is going to be more relevant for, I'd say, businesses that have 1 to 50 employees. That'll be probably a premium tier because we're going to be providing one-to-one client onboarding. It's like 2 separate 1-hour sessions. It's going to be priority client support or business level client support. So if it's a business that has 1 to 50, we would highly recommend joining it premium because that's going to be the tier where you're able to truly like utilize us. That is essentially access to somebody like myself, customer support, just constant access to us and being able to bounce ideas or possible use cases, or before you send a message, if you wanted to send, hey, would this be a good idea? We can give you, yeah, sure, or maybe tweak it up a little bit. We do have 2 other tiers. Those tiers are for what we call our small to medium-sized business. That's the environment in which I live in. That's my target audience when I'm going out there and actively hunting prospects. But for us, our definition of small to mid-sized business is from 0 to $1 billion in annual recurring revenue. So
okay, well, let's come back down to earth here, Ethan. And Robert asks, is this new number you provide used on a dedicated phone?
What do you mean? By dedicated.
He's wondering, does he need a new phone, or can he use community on his phone?
Let me show you where my community. Oh God, let's see here. Perfect. So my community app is right there. If we see community right there, what I do want to show you is as I click into community, the dashboard that you see on the community app is literally the same as you see it via web. So the way the platform lives is on your computer or on this app. You don't need a phone, you don't need to download anything. It's a very frictionless process for you too.
Okay, let me just ask, are
Yep.
there financial services professionals using the community platform right now?
Yes, a lot of them. I can say the industries that they work in. I can't speak to specifics. Actually, one person that we do have permission to share that I would like to share with everybody on here because it's a great doctor to follow is Dr. David Agus. He is a significant partner for community. He believes in our platform, so he utilizes us significantly. But if you sign up for his community, you'll get a text message from him, and he has an audience size of over 200,000 people. He believes that as a doctor, he's going to be dealing with people, and as influential as he is, he's going to be dealing with people on a daily basis that could be life or death. So he truly believes in the platform and messaging people directly from the platform. So it's a very interesting way to see from a different perspective how people are utilizing it versus like a hands-off approach. The industries in which financial professionals are utilizing our platform: hedge funds, private equity, financial advisors, crypto, venture capital. We have we have businesses that are utilizing us to text with their founders. We have financial services companies that are using us as a demonstration for their financial advisors or more like a test case for their financial advisors to use. We're currently with 500 of their financial advisors, which will be growing significantly after that once they're finding success there. We have some financial services companies that are utilizing us as before the market opens text message. So sending out a text every single day at 8 a.m.
I don't recommend that. Let me just say,
again, it's based on your audience. So they're texting people that are in the financial services community that are probably going to be on the floor at 9 a.m.
Okay, so I do my homework, as you know.
Of
So
course.
I'm a physician. I can get on all sorts of financial advisors' platforms, so I can do the snooping and see what they're doing. And I will tell you, I'm not going to name them, but there is just like the best marketing to doctors financial advisor group, and they're using text regularly. So if they drop a new podcast, hey, have you wondered about whether you should do this with your practice? If they've got webinars, they are just really, really effective at engaging people. And, I'm not going to visit their website on a regular basis, but this is always just kind of a little reminder. And remember, doctors might need to be on your list for years before they finally decide, yeah, I really should learn more about this particular thing.
And it's going to be the content that you send out. Maybe there's just one thing that you send out one day that really hits home to one person, and then that's going to be like your continued success is learning from your successes. And that's with everything, but that's specifically with our platform, is really building off the success that you're seeing and then growing through that.
All right, so Ethan, how do they,
Yes.
if they are interested in learning more, what do they do?
So I will be as cliche as possible here and say, if you want to sign up or learn more, please feel free to text me. This is my community number, so you can experience what it's like to be a community member, interact with my community, how I interact with them, see what's working, see what's not, or feel free to email me if that's just an easier way. And then from there, we'll just follow the simple sign-up process. You let me know what plan you want. You let me know what area code. I'll just need your email information, and if you have a relevant website, because we just need to be able to confirm to the carriers that you do exist as a business and you're not just a random person, because again, compliance is key here. But yeah, it's as simple as shooting me a quick text message, or feel free to email me as well. And
All right.
we'll be sending out my information after this too, right?
All right. I just want to sort of go meta here and just observe that there's a lot of members in my community, right? Financial services professionals who want to build business relationships with doctors. There are some people who are really struggling. You know, they did dinner seminars and now what do? But I will tell you that there are a lot of advisors who've had the best years ever in 2020 and 2021. And they all share one thing. They are more effective digital marketers, right? The way that we engage with our prospects is different. This is one of the reasons I just jumped on digital marketing when I heard about it, because like I could see the future. So I'm not saying that this is or is not for you, but what I am saying is that you don't want to be a dinosaur. You know, maybe you want to be an early adapter, you know, rather than somebody pulling up the end of the innovation curve. And I think you have an opportunity here to be an early adopter and really stand out.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. So any other questions for Ethan? All right. So Ethan, I want to thank you. For members of my community, I just want to let you know that Ethan was willing to like spend an hour with me yesterday so he could really understand you and what you wanted and needed. And I think that speaks something about the culture of community.com. They're here for us. They want to see us succeed. So Ethan, thank you so much for this great presentation and for all the thought you put into this.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, and I'd be happy to do it anytime.
Great. Thanks again. So remember, everyone, doctors want and need your help. Go out and help them. So thanks a lot. You'll all get a replay of this recording. So if you missed something, you'll have a chance of hearing it again. Bye-bye for now.
Bye, everyone.